I'm just gonna go back over replacing the plugs. I mean, it's pretty simple, nothing complicated. Put this in there. I already got the idiot cover off. I want to disconnect all the connectors. Push it down, use the tabs, pull back, twist, pull up. Man, these are hot. And I'm gonna put that coil back exactly where I got it from. Whew, shit. Let's burn up. Cool. Make sure that number one goes exactly where it came from. All right, take a standard 5/8. Remove the plug. To each his own. When it comes to this thing worn out already. When it comes to putting back plugs in there, putting the spark plugs back in there. I mean, you can. Some people will use the grease and just lubricate every damn thing, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, it's kind of pointless using the anti-seize on it, especially when it didn't come from the factory. Even though the dielectric grease probably didn't come from the factory, but it makes it a lot easier when removing the plug, especially when that rubber makes to the porcelain. So I will be using that. That's why I said to each his own. We could take another look at the plugs again. I mean, how rough of a shape they were in, especially number one. I mean, it wasn't looking good at all. If I can get the focus on it a lot better. It just wasn't looking good at all. So. In there. I remember one guy made a comment about dropping the plugs down in there on the Infinity video, and it's individual judgment. It depends on how far the distance is. I mean, you just have to use your common sense. Also, one guy was inquiring about how many turns you use to tighten up the spark plug. Again, it's personal feel, common sense. If they don't know, use a torque wrench, find the torque specs. I mean, you can feel the washer collapse. Smash, so the judgment call from there. So those are in. I put grease on them before. I'm gonna leave what I already put on there. I don't want to overdo it. Make sure I put that one back in the same spot. We have ends here, these little ears that protrude out. Make sure they go in a proper orientation. And number one mainly, put that back in the same spot. And they're all going on there like so. some piercings and that coming in contact with one another. All right, that's it. We'll start it back up. We'll look at a new waveform. All right, you got the part and the fan, but I had to took a while to get the actual event going on because I'm not accustomed of seeing the firing event of a ignition waveform looking like this. I wonder if it'll change, but I'm gonna find out shortly. But this is why I'm doing this, so I can just get some experience. But we can see here, my red trace is going to the actual event. The green is the signaling. And yeah, look, it doesn't look as squared off as it should be, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the pickup discharging. That's probably why it's not a straight shot down close up. If I zoom out, it'll look more erect. Let's see if I can move these so it'll look more erect. I'm pretty sure that's just a little bit of noise from the actual event occurring. I'm gonna overlap this again. I'm gonna zoom in. So now that we know where it's happening, let me zoom out one more time. Let me zoom out. See, you can see the actual coil, the 14 volt source that I'm hooked up to, drop ever so slightly. It's not much, but I'm on the triggering side, and you can see where that starts to happen. So you can see the 14 volt drop ever so slightly to charge up the coil, and this should be where it collapses and opens up to administer the spark. And from here on over is that actual spark event. I'm gonna get a screenshot of this. I'm gonna leave one hooked up only because I don't feel like using all these channels. Take that, zoom in even more. Take that. And we can look at our time base down here, seeing how long all this took place. I mean, it was only open for like 1 millisecond. It wasn't open that long. Well, the charge time wasn't that long. So it's about 2.1. Yeah, it wasn't, just about 1.7 milliseconds. And we can zoom out to see the actual event. I mean, from here on over, I mean, it's like nanoseconds. So, like I said, I'm just doing this for practice purposes only. I just want to see if there's any obvious difference. And again, I mean, this is the old plugs in here, the one that we looked at that were all jacked up. And I'm just going to observe this for a little bit. Leave everything as it is. And put the new plugs in. So yeah, even before, they were still peaked out about 16 volts down here. So here's our 16 volts here, so it's still about peaked out, maxed out there. Let's go back to oscilloscope here. Stop it right there. And how we know out of all those events here, how we know which one we're on is because we have the signaling wire pierced, so we can see that signal. I mean, it just looked a lot healthier. It was amazing. A lot closer. what I should do is get the same values as we're doing a screenshot. So we're at 128. That's how close we were. Allow me to go down there and close. Closer to about 128. Let me turn the fans off and get a good angle on it. All right, so it took a while for the fans to go off. Let me take that peak hold off of here. How do I do that? I think because I don't have it on, then it's not going to do the measurement. So let's take a look at it. I just want to get a straight edge here, so when the voltage actually dropped, when it actually fell off, you can see that start to charge. That when the coil was charged, the spark starts to become discharged. And let me see here. I think I can get a measurement. How long the spark duration is. I'm curious. I wonder if it'll. I don't know if this is accurate or not. So it's like 2 nanoseconds. And even if I spread it out, it's going to be the same. Yeah, 2.3 nanoseconds. So if I understand, this is supposed to be like oscillation here from the coil after the coil has done its duty and discharged. And here we can, I guess, see everything becomes saturated or equalizes. And the voltage comes back down here. But again, I mean, there's obviously a difference. Let's go to gallery. Let's see here. So there's obviously a difference. The old spark event versus the new. So my thing is, like, if this is fire from here to here, then I would imagine usually that little bit coming down here will probably be at some point the spark dissipating, I guess, at some point. I don't know, I kind of question a lot of things, but like I'm not perfect with this. This is still just me kind of analyzing it after having to replace plugs on this vehicle. So, but I do recall, like, looking at a fuel injector from another video. You can see the pintle coil and everything. It'll oscillate, and you'll see that interruption there as the voltage declines and begins to equalize. So let's go back. I mean, you can see how smooth that is, and I would imagine, man, I mean, like, the rippling here will be the fire dissipating. And I mean, you can see how much smoother that would be over something that is prolonged and drawn out. I mean, because if and this is just my thought on this. I mean, if we have fire here to here, this is oscillation. I mean, where's the rest of the fire going? You know, it's voltage. So I mean, I would imagine it would, being that the resistance high from the defective plugs. Let me get one. I mean, being that the plugs are worn out, I mean that voltage has to go somewhere and get stored somewhere. So if the resistance high here, it's not going to flow as it should, and that coil should be able to store that energy. So that's why I would assume, where am I going here? That's why I would assume this ripple here would be more of just stored voltage because of a defective plug in comparison to the smoother transition here from with the new plugs. I mean, everything just flows and just bounces out a hell of a lot better in comparison to the old one. But I'll tell you what, I got another truck coming. I got a truck coming, and I need to get this one knocked out. I've been spending some hours on this, just playing around with oscilloscope. But hey, this car take a crap on me because I have no infinity for Volkswagens. I hate this car. I just hate them. You're not gonna know. Hit that subscribe button and stay informed. How that reinsurance on my work, and it's on to the next one.